Tara Barney is our president of the Chamber of Commerce here, and she has this big vision and idea that what we need is a business climate that attracts abundant talent and contributes to the idea of a flourishing life and a balance between living and working. And so she's going to do a great job helping us grasp this vision. So if you guys would, welcome Tara Barney.
I do appreciate the chance to talk with you a little bit tonight. I am new, but I just want to start by talking about how we moved to this space. We're in Evansville. It is the big city of a much bigger region. And to Ross's point, this region it's where 500,000 people about actually live their lives, and how the region goes is how Evansville goes, and vice versa. So I am really interested in thinking about how we transform our whole region. I think it's a pretty ambitious goal to think not just about Evansville, but about the whole economy that surrounds it, and how we work for equitable growth as we make decisions and plans for that region. We got a lot of opportunity to harness resources, assets, people, energy, priorities. We got to do it across the big river. We've got to do it in 2 or 3 states, depending on how you think about our geography. There's lots of cities, there's a few counties. I could go on and on, but my point is we've got the opportunity to get a lot of good people involved in this effort. And I think if we're going to create a better future, we really have to keep a focus on it for the long haul. We've got a lot of plans that some work, some don't. But the larger opportunity, I think, is how we begin to deliberately work across sectors and across those jurisdictions and set some priorities together. The Regional Cities effort has really impressed me because I think that was an early example of some great, thoughtful leaders working across political lines and geographic lines and going together to win that grant, and then more important than that, to execute some pretty compelling projects that have changed the face of this region. And certainly they've changed the way that our community sees itself. Still, I'm a little challenged by that thinking because bold projects, yes. We've done the Stone Center, great accomplishment. We've won some national sports championships. I think those are huge assets. We're building a new aquatic center. But I think about that as extraordinary contributions to our built environment. So we have a very cool looking place now. That said, I'm trying to think through how that positions us for the future. Are we really prepared for that global competition that we're facing? Can we address the economic challenges that our community faces? And not just our community in general, but I'd argue that most of our citizens actually are facing some kind of significant challenge that has to do with how our economy flourishes as a whole. I think that we address those challenges as we think forward to what we need to do to compete in the global economy and how we make sure that we're doing that in an equitable and, I'm going to say, an enriching way. I use that word specifically because I think it's not just financially enriching, but how we're building this balance of a community that is enriching not only our current lives, but the lives of our kids that are coming. And we're really going to need a plan to do this. I just got back from Omaha. So a few months ago, about 30 of my friends went to Omaha. And it was older folks, younger folks, executives, nonprofit warriors, artists, philanthropists. We took a very interesting crew to Omaha. And I spent some time listening to stories of a lot of billionaires that live in Omaha. They have extraordinary wealth, and those billionaires have set up some fantastic foundations that are doing very good work. But that's not what struck me most. What struck me most about being in Omaha was the people that I interacted with that have a genuine shared narrative. Lots and lots of people have an idea of what Omaha can be and is going to be, and they're taking that on individually and personally. So it's every individual or their small group that's thinking not about what Omaha is doing to enrich their lives, but what they can do to contribute to where Omaha is going. It was fascinating to see the impact of having that many people that had a common vision. And I came back from that and I thought, I like my new community. I love living here. I think we've got a lot of people, you, many others I work with, that have an appetite for this. I think that we do have folks that are not just focused on these big projects because they matter, but we've got a start of public and private leaders that are really working together to cross those jurisdictional lines to frankly start to build trust, because we go nowhere without trust. So want to go fast, want to go slow. But the bottom line, I kept thinking back to those Omaha folks, and not only were they living this vision, but they were doing it with real heft. They had personal passion in the interactions they had. And I'm talking about people in the bars and the restaurants. It was a very fascinating experience. Now, in case you're geographically challenged, Omaha is a bi-state community like ours. It crosses the Missouri River. We've got the Ohio River. So it is a big region. It's struggled, as many Midwest communities have, to find their space, but they have figured out what they want to be. And yes, the College World Series is something we all know about Omaha. We all know Warren Buffett's there. But it's a community that's actually decreasing its average age because they're having so much in-migration into that city. And so they've had a very deliberate, shared effort to make this thing happen. I kind of feel that widespread energy here. I really do. I think there's a great appetite for civic engagement, not just in this room, but in communities I've found all over, and the folks I met tonight when I sat down and barged in on a table. And I really feel like we've got some momentum. And I'm very interested in how we take the work of these conversations of where our business community rightly needs to go so we can address the most repeated challenge in our region, and that is talent. And talent gets addressed because we are solving many of the challenges that our community faces today. We're going to need all hands on deck to do this, and we're going to need that plan I referenced. But even more than a plan, I really think what we need is a shared vision. Everyone's heard that before. Yes, you need a vision, but I want to make a case for that, because we need to think genuinely about what we want this community to actually look like and feel like in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And we need to figure out this vision together. I love a good plan, but how many plans do you know that have been expensive, they've been hard work, they've been long developed, and they've disappointed, they haven't come through, or they've been discounted because one constituency didn't like the plan, or there were naysayers in opposition, or I didn't get to help draft the plan, or it's that city's plan, not this city's plan, or it's their plan, not our plan. I could go on and on and on. My point is, plans are by their nature, they direct, they guide, they say do this, and then do this, and then do this. My thought is this: any plan without a vision is probably doomed to dissatisfaction. They tend to create that restrictive environment and say, we're going to focus our efforts here, not here. I'm going to make the case that a vision's a little different. A vision it illuminates, it opens doors, it encourages lots of involvement early on in the process, and it keeps building a consensus, because people spend time together and immediately they have differences. But if those differences can be overcome because they see they're moving toward a larger goal, it gives us an opportunity to stay on track. We're on track because the tracks are wider than they are in many plans. I think a vision offers a chance to build kind of a human glue, if you will, a way that you build cultural authority, and that cultural authority helps when the naysayers say, well, I don't really like that idea, I think this is a better idea. I think it's incredibly important that we build this vision together. I want to back up, because I don't want to diss plans. I want to make the point that a plan without a vision is inevitably going to short-circuit us. So I'm going to just put out a thought. What if we decide that we want a community that eliminates hunger, or we want to be involved in lifelong learning or literacy? What if we want to be a culturally rich community because we've got lots of new Americans moving here? Pick your plan. Pick your set of opportunities that we want our community to look like. And I think we can build a much more sustainable way to move forward on some of these priorities if we build this kind of backwards approach. So we start with what we aspire to be, and then we can identify those choices that are moving us toward our aspiration, rather than having to kind of figure this out from starting at A and going to Z. So I want to encourage us to start with the vision and work our way backwards to the kind of community we want this region to be. And I think from the perspective that most matters, and that is building enough resources, whether they're human or cash, to make this work. We will do very well if we sit down at the table, at home, in this room, and start to have those conversations and really start to think about how we don't just go to the fastest edge, but go to where we include the reluctant folks and their perspectives too, because this is going to be woven together tightly. So I hope we can think along those lines. I love working with you on this, and that's all I've got to add tonight. So thank you.